Welcome to AMS Talks. I'm your special guest host, Nadia Abboud, and today we are discussing one of the biggest opportunities and challenges facing utilities, turning data into actionable insight. Utilities generate more operational data than ever before, but collecting the data is only one part of the equation. The real value comes in trusted, real-time information that helps utilities to make better decisions, improve reliability, and operate more efficiently. Joining me today, I'm so excited, is Carter Dougherty, Executive Vice President of Analytics at AMS. Carter works with utilities to help them unlock the value of data through data as a service and advanced analytics. So, Carter, thank you for joining me today. It's wonderful to have you.
Oh, thank you. I'm really happy to be here and really, really excited to talk about this subject.
This is our first AMS Talks together, so I'm excited.
Very nice.
I always love to start with a little bit of a big picture. So if
Yeah.
we were to take that approach, we hear a lot of discussion around this digital transformation, but many utilities don't fully trust the data or they're not using it. So what do you think is holding the industry back?
I think if I take a step back from the question and recognize that digital transformation is change at its core, and anytime there's any significant change, you're going to meet resistance, you're going to meet challenges. I think the industry's really making a heroic effort with limited budgets, with limited staffing. I think they're making a huge effort. But let's talk a little bit about some of the things that affect change and what can in fact accelerate change. Um, Digital transformation being a significant change means that significant short-term and long-term plans are required. And developing those plans is just not part of a scripted daily work in a utility. So being able to address those long-term plans as they come and meet the need of the moment is a challenge in and of itself. And human nature, we all know that when big change comes, there's a learning curve, there's more upfront work on top of your regular daily work. And then there's always this question, will it actually be better? Is it just going to make my life worse? I think that's pretty common. And we see that in a lot of customers that just want to get on with the long clipboard of checklist items that they have for the day. So there's a human nature that's going to make it difficult, and it's going to extend the adoption period for meaningful digital transformation. But the real, as you mentioned earlier, a really, really profound comment that you made about the barrier is the trusted data. And that really is, if you're not accustomed to high frequency data, you don't know what it's supposed to look like. Therefore, it makes it difficult for you to judge it. And so I would say that reaching a point of trusted data is no easy feat. It's a collaborative effort, and I would describe it more even from just a change or a transformation to a paradigm shift. It's a whole shift in the way that we do our work. Um, Part of that paradigm is that continuous, trustworthy information at scale, in context, and actionable. And that collection of features with data is no small feat.
I mean, and that all those points that you brought up, Carter, that's core to sort of what AMS has been doing for over a decade now when it comes to advanced analytics. So, it's just crazy. I know you've been in the industry a while, myself too, to just how long it's taken to really get true adoption. And we're still talking today about what is
Yes.
it going to take to get us to that point. Um,
We'll be talking for a while about this. I think it's coming up with ways of teaching and learning from each other as we go, and it's being open to that. And AMS, what we've done that I think makes us difference is early on we've developed these core knowledge areas that I think really make a difference at not just delivering equipment or data, but delivering action, the ability to act on your treatment process. Those four areas, as I would say, would be equipment knowledge, expertise in the process calibration, understanding of how mechanics work in a machine. The next one would be asset knowledge, asset history knowledge. How does the instrument react over time, over various changes in the environment in the calendar year?
mhm.
The next one would be water matrix knowledge. We have instruments all over the world, and we see them in different matrices, and we see how they behave in those different matrices and the kinds of problems they encounter. And then finally, data knowledge and data analytics. most utilities don't have data analytics professionals. And we bring that core four pillars, as I call it, four pillars approach to knowledge that's really critical for bringing, again, not just equipment, not just data, but actionable insights to your
Is,
treatment process.
is that, are those four pillars sort of how you've crafted what we're talking about is your data as a service
Absolutely.
program? So,
Absolutely.
that is, and you alluded to it, it's more than just simply installing the equipment. So, w- what is that difference? Like, how are you taking those pillars, putting it into a program, and why is that shift important for utilities as they're undertaking this their own digital transformation?
Sure, sure. I think it's broadening our mind as to what our scope of responsibility is. AMS is not just responsible for selling or installing or plugging in an instrument. It is our scientific expertise that we bring to bear. It is our long-term experience. It's keeping those four pillars in focus as we interact with each problem. When I first started, I can remember lots of instances where we thought, isn't this out of scope for an analytics instrumentation company? And our inevitable answer was always no. If it's their problem, it's our problem. It becomes our problem. We become that partner. So I think it's by keeping in mind those four pillars and making sure that our scope is much broader than what I think anybody would think an instrumentation company would be interested in.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. So when you've gone out, you've sort of put these four pillars in place. That is what allows you to have, as you talked about, the importance of reliable, real-time data. Given the breadth of the organization, the role of AMS analytics across, as you mentioned, the world, are there any examples that you can share about, let's say, operational decisions or outcomes that became possible as a result of, starting this digital transformation?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's numerous examples and depending on what our subject matter is, I can usually think of quite a few impacts on individuals. And what's really fun about those, at least in my own personal experience, has been seeing that person who's fought for budget, scraped together, made a purchase, and then realized that what they bought was far more than what they ever expected. It's been so much fun to see them, the shoulders relax, them
Yes.
feeling a sense of relief that I am supported, I am getting more than this is more than and it is offsetting our workload. It is offsetting our stress levels. But a few examples I think that are really exciting. Central Alabama, town of Gilbert, both early adopters in our instrumentations. And both of them ran long-term studies to basically uncover that they could save a lot of money on operating costs. Their own studies revealed that, and they did national presentations of their results and shared that. They both have more than one has 6 instruments, the other has 8. You can see that it's become an integral part, saving them operations time, saving them treatment costs. Um,
Those installations, Carter, those are more than a decade, if I remember
Yes.
correctly. I mean,
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
and which
Yep.
is, even unprecedented in and of itself. I believe you offer a 10-year warranty on your analytical instruments, and I mean,
It's a
the
it's a
list
whole
goes on and
different.
on and on and
Yep.
on.
Yep. Yeah, they represent what I might describe as forward thinking,
Sure.
risk tolerant. They're willing and ready to take a risk with something that's innovative and going to benefit them. They recognize that value. They fight for. Early on, there were a lot of I could tell there was a lot of fighting for budget, a lot of justifying, a lot of explaining, a lot of demonstrating. They themselves had to convince themselves of the value. It's a whole different story today. It is their renewals for their annual contracts are very simple, straightforward. They've
Yes.
recognized it's part of their organization. It's part of how they think.
I mean, but even, utilities like them that are forward thinking, there's still a collaborative effort. There's still an educational effort.
Yeah.
So when you look at that process, what are some of the critical components to having that conversation about the value that can be derived?
That's a lovely question. I'm not fully. Let me think about that.
We can come back to that, but I want to just bring up something else in our discussion for our viewers. You alluded to it,
Mhm.
and I want to make sure that we put enough emphasis on it. This data as a service package, the approach that you're taking with your instruments, it's really about this 24/7 support that's not
Yeah.
just keeping the analyzer up, but it's, minimizing the mean time to repairs. Like there's the list, it's an extensive list, but what I love when I
Mhm.
look and I see what your customers are saying
Yeah.
about this approach, if there's any issue, AMS is fast to respond. The
Yes.
monitoring, the remote monitoring is great. They typically call us in advance of any anticipated issue.
Yes.
I mean, the list goes, it's,
80% of the issues we resolve before a customer even is aware there's an issue.
I mean,
So other than them spending time with instrumentation projects and dealing with fighting for additional budget to repair something or begging a technician to come on site, they've committed to a longer term relationship. We've committed to anything and everything required to make sure they've got data as they need it. Um,
yeah, I mean, that's just it's integral, and I don't know if that necessarily gets enough airtime, right? It's
sure.
and it speaks to your point. You're not just a technology provider. You're really a solution provider, a collaborative effort.
Partner.
Yes, a partner, definitely. Do you want to go back to that question, or can I, or
Actually, you make a good point. Let's go back for a second. You posed a question about collaboration and its importance, and it is seminal to a good partnership. And here again, I think I'm talking about something where an instrumentation vendor is generally not your partner. AMS can't function if we're not your partner. And for that matter, then if we're not collaborating, we're not getting successful results. Collaboration is key. Neither side can arrive at fully reliable, trusted data that's actionable if we don't collaborate. So you've brought up a really, really important question. I really want to reinforce it. And there is a lot of ongoing, I guess I'm going to say, sharing of that message when we have a new customer brought into our fold is making sure they understand that this is not a we're dumping this on you. We're going to deploy and disappear, and good luck to you, or call us only when you desperately need us. We'll see if we can meet your need. It's none of those things. We're far more involved in our customers' lives and instrumentation, especially when there's problems than you can normally see.
Oh, that's fantastic. And such a, it is such a unique approach. And I know, been able to sit down with various stakeholders in AMS during our interviews. And one thing I'm always struck by is the passion across whether it's the executive team, every team member in the organization for what you do, why you're doing it. And it comes through when you speak about the importance of partnership and collaboration. And I'm just excited to see you in this new role, Carter, and the voice that you bring, and the knowledge and the perspective, right?
I've been really incredibly lucky in getting to join a team that we don't have to teach urgency. We don't have to teach passion. We have to slow people down sometimes. They dive into an issue that might not be a huge issue, but they're so concerned that it gets solved quickly. And I think other companies do have to spend time teaching and training that piece of it. We can skip over that. We've hired well, we've retained well. It's been an important and it's what binds us as a team.
Yeah, no, absolutely well said. And knowing that the longevity of the organization and where you see things going, if I were to say, all right, to our viewers, looking ahead 3 to 5 years, and if they wanted to know what you thought is going to separate utilities that successfully
Mhm.
adopt digital transformation, the value of data, what what do you what do you think is going to be the difference between those that embrace and those that don't?
Yeah, I love the question. It is a moment in time. Where are we now, and where will it be in 3 to 5 years? I do want to take a sort of again a bigger step back on the question and suggest that there are players in the industry, there are customers who have already begun this journey and have already really kind of arrived. They already have implemented. They already have arrived at trust levels. We've seen it take place. We're seeing it take place as customers go from their third, fourth, fifth year with us. I think in the future, what's going to be really, really important is uh, organizations will more readily be able to optimize their treatment, reduce their cost, as these examples I provided earlier. They'll be able to empower their workforce with more modern tools rather than clipboards and bottles for grab samples. I think that'll help them attract more capable, more excited team members. And I think it will set them up for future platforms of AI implementations. right now AI is going to struggle in this industry as the quality of data has to be pristine. Otherwise, you're funneling in poor data or questionable data, and you're going to get out questionable results. And so I think it'll be difficult to move forward until, and again, in the next 3 to 5 years, as customers adopt and transition, I think we will see better results and better efficiencies and better cost savings.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that perspective. And, it is a paradigm. It is a paradigm shift. So I'm so appreciative that you were able to sit down with me, share your insights and thoughts on this important topic because, as we talked about earlier, there are opportunities, but there are challenges. And challenges, I don't know if maybe I'm an eternal optimist. Challenges are just opportunities.
It is in how you look at it, and it is your trust that if you tackle something that seems difficult, or you don't know exactly how it's going to end, that you trust that innovation can ultimately provide good power.
Definitely. So, to our viewers out there, if you are ready to explore your digital transformation and you want to put your trust in somebody, look to Carter and the AMS team for some of their advanced analytical solutions and how data as a service could help your utility. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thank you.